and welcome to episode 6 of the Divi Community live Q&A sessions. Woohoo!
AKA chats.
AKA chat. I'm Tami Heaton. I'm hosting this week. Gino is, I think, in a client meeting this week, is he not?
I believe so. He's going to try to chime in.
Cool. Hopefully he'll be back around. And Leslie is here with me, helping me host.
Hi.
And today we are interviewing Michelle Nunan from Divi Soup. Michelle, you there?
Yeah, hello.
Woo! So, you guys, I think probably all know the drill. I'm curious if there's anybody who's new here this week. Like, pop a message in the chat box and let us know. Just say, hey, we'd be curious. Not to put anybody on the spot, but otherwise we're just going to jump into the questions. So, Michelle,
Yeah.
how is it that you came to be involved in this whole Divi community?
I've got a new client that was actually a family member, and they had quite a small budget, and I'd been developing in Joomla for about 7 years, and basically their budget just didn't stretch to a Joomla website. So I decided it was probably time to look into WordPress. And so I installed WordPress. The first theme I found was Divi, and the rest is history, really.
Interesting. So have you worked, did you end up ever going outside of Divi, or did you really just stick with Divi?
No, I pretty much stuck with Divi. I think I tried Fusion. That's a elegant theme, isn't it? Fusion.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. I tried Fusion, and I had a little play around with Nexus for a personal project, which I really liked actually. Nexus was quite nice.
Very clean.
Sorry.
That was the first one I played with.
Was it? Yeah, I did like Nexus.
Yep.
But yeah, apart from that, no, nothing else at all.
Wow. I know a few people in the community actually have backgrounds in like Drupal and Joomla and other stuff, which I find really interesting. So it seems, I'm just from looking at your tutorials, it seems like you definitely know some pretty hardcore code for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I first, I started in the late 90s, when sort of it was GeoCities, and I was taught myself HTML and what was back then Macromedia Flash. I mean, I was building sites in HTML and Flash. And then I was doing that for a number of years, and then sort of content management systems started to come about, and a company that I was working for needed a new website. So I went to look at different content management systems, and I looked at Drupal, Joomla and WordPress, and just for the needs of the company that I was working for at the time, I decided to go with Joomla. And I just stayed with that for quite a long time, really. But I actually, funnily enough, I had to go into one of my old client sites today, which is a Joomla site, and it was awful. Oh, I hated it. It was so bad. I'm so glad that I moved to WordPress.
So the background before, was it more corporate? We actually, in terms of time frame, I think we kind of came up like around exactly the same time. So I relate quite a bit to your background.
Mm.
Were you corporate before you started your own business?
Yeah, I worked in the London transport industry since I was about 18. I worked in that industry for about 20 years, and I still actually have clients in that industry that I do sites for. But I was in marketing in that industry, so I was always responsible for the website. So I was either building them myself or looking after the agencies that were building them. So yeah, always web. And a lot of IT stuff as well. I did a lot of bug testing for new systems. I used to write access databases for departments to run.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
It's not.
I can't imagine.
Hey, Michelle.
Database
I have a client that I'm having to migrate an old Mambo site. I've got a client that's still using Mambo.
Oh God, no.
I know, right? And I had to move the whole thing into WordPress and set up an outside authentication with it. And they're actually in the process of manually entering 2,200 usernames because I didn't want to script it. I'm not taking anything from Mambo and anything I've ever touched. No,
Yeah.
no.
No, I can't imagine that. I got into it when it was Joomla. I never touched it when it was Mambo. But yeah, I think the thing that I really liked, but that I miss about Joomla with that you don't get in WordPress is a number of things. But the access level management is fantastic and so easy to set up, and the menu management. You know, having different menus on different pages and for logged in and logged out users and guests and things like that. And to me, it just seems like a standard functionality that should be part of WordPress, and it's not. Yeah, so I do miss that, but
that's definitely a handful of plugins just those functions. Although I use the user role as much on every site though.
Yeah,
it was neat that Divi added that. The function that they added. The only thing is, it doesn't pick up custom user groups.
Yeah.
Tami, are you still there?
I'm still here. Okay. So, Michelle, you're now working on Divi Soup. Before you, in between the discovery of WordPress and where you are now, did you do a lot of client work in between?
Not that much. I mean, I spent a couple of years. I did business consulting for a good few years after I left corporate, and my plan was to consult for a number of different clients, and I ended up taking on a client that basically took up all of my time and then some. So it was almost like I was back in a job. So when that contract ended, I spent a year or two trying to decide what I wanted to do, and I really didn't know what I wanted to do. So I'm a domain hoarder, and I just have an idea every day about a new business, as I'm sure you guys do too. It's just like an entrepreneurial trait. So I spent about 2 years just like hoarding domains and coming up with these business ideas and setting up websites and then doing nothing with them. And after about 2 years, I realised that actually the only time when I was happy was when I was building the website. And after that, I didn't want to know. And just one day it dawned on me, why are you not just building websites, for a job? And so, yeah, that was just like my sort of aha moment. And I just decided, okay, I'm going to do this now.
Coming out of the basement and into the light.
Yeah, it was just so weird. I've been doing it for like 15 years on and off, but never sort of as a full-time occupation. And when I sort of realised that, I just thought, my God, why has this taken me so long to realise this?
Because you can work with code. That's the thing. I mean,
it's what makes me happy, and I'm never happier than when I'm building a website or doing a tutorial or trying to solve a coding problem or something like that. So I kind of just flaked about for 2 years before I decided to do it. So I've only really actually been doing it properly full time for about 18 months, I'd say.
Cool. We were also on a similar timeline there. I'm going to actually take a question right now before it kind of scrolls up and get lost. Olga asked, do you get most of your work from Facebook groups or local clients?
No, I don't have any local clients. Well, I say no local clients. I've got clients that are sort of long-term clients from previously when I wasn't sort of doing this full-time. But most people find me either through the Facebook groups or through Divi Soup. I don't market at all. So I'm really fortunate that, I don't have to do anything. Clients will sort of just come to me.
That's good.
That's something that lasts too. If your work ethic's good, business, don't have to.
Yeah, and I don't want to work with local clients. My husband actually the other day said to me, "Why aren't you marketing round here?" I don't want to work with people around here. I'm quite an extrovert. I don't want to see people.
That's how I am. I like my clients to be far away.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'll Skype and everything like that, but I don't want to have to, get out of my pajamas and come and see you.
See, that keeps coming up. I didn't know people were getting dressed. The clothes were even part of this job. That's, I don't know, 15 years at home. I love it.
Olga has another question. Is your main work child themes and tutorials or building not local client sites?
No.
It's probably about 60-40, 60-40 client work. I do get a bit frustrated sometimes of not having enough time to do child themes and tutorials, because if I had my way, that's all I would do, I think. Because it just makes me happy. You've got the design freedom. You're not answerable to anyone. You can just build on any subject that you want. You can make it look however you want. You can write a tutorial about whatever you want. But that said, I have some amazing clients that I really, really enjoy working with. And I think I would really miss them, actually. So yeah, probably about 60-40. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
I think most of us can probably relate to that, but the push-pull of having your projects that you want to work on and then having your clients. Do you have any super secret methods that you come up for finding time to work on your child themes and stuff?
I used to just schedule out Fridays to work on tutorials. But I don't seem to have the time to do that anymore. What I try and do now is I can't sleep in the morning on the weekend. If the alarm goes off to get up to get the kids to school, then I don't want to get up, and I can quite happily turn the alarm off. But at the weekend, I'm just awake at 6 a.m. There's nothing I can do about it. So I tend to sort of do stuff at the weekend in the morning before the kids get up. So I get a sort of 2 or 3 hours each day before anyone gets up, and that's actually my most productive time. I think better in the morning, and I think I just have more ideas and stuff in the morning. So yeah, I try and do that at the weekend before they get up, so that I can get something done. So yeah, I'll sort of work on tutorials and that then, and then child themes I probably work on in the evening after the kids go to bed, because I have quite a long school run, which takes up quite a lot of my day. So I probably don't have as much time as most people do to, as much sort of working hours during the day as most people do. So I have to kind of make it up where I can.
Sorry, Elizabeth.
Oh no, I was just noticing. There's got some rolling questions coming in now.
You want to toss some of those in there?
Well, I see that first, Mo is asking, where do you get your inspiration for the recipes?
From the groups, I tend to try and work on things that people ask the most. And I also try to work on things that I don't think the elegant themes are going to implement. So there are things that people ask for a lot that it's quite likely that elegant themes will add functionality to modules or that kind of thing. So what I try and do is work on tutorials that wouldn't be something that they would add, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it keeps your stuff relevant.
Yeah, so they've got a bit of longevity, because, sometimes you'll see a tutorial and then it's like, oh, you don't need this anymore because it's now available in this module.
Yeah, that's happened.
Yeah, so I try to avoid that, but kind of monitor the questions that are being asked and see what's getting asked the most and sort of try and focus on that. I've got an Evernote file of loads of ideas and stuff that I see that's asked. But then sometimes as well, if someone's having a particular problem with something and I've got a bit of time and I don't think it's going to take too long, then I'll just go and just write a tutorial on that straight away and completely ignore my list.
Leslie?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, my dog distracted me. Well, there's a couple more questions. Getting to the Divi Soup, David wants to know, how did you come up with the idea of Divi Soup?
Oh, I knew someone was going to ask me.
Yeah.
Didn't I was going to.
Yeah, I was going to.
If they didn't, I would.
I was trying to remember. As I said, I'm a domain hoarder. And when I decided that I wanted to do a tutorial site, I went to my registrar, as you do, and the strangest thing happened. Normally you have a business idea or some kind of idea and you go in to search for the domain and everything is gone. Absolutely everything. Well, everything was available for Divi. It was absolutely all of the domains for anything you could think of was available, which actually made it a lot more difficult. So I was typing in different things and just everything was coming up as sort of available. So I started to think what I wanted the site to be about. And I wanted to be able to have something where I could add any kind of content related to Divi, and it would still be relevant as far as the domain name went. So if it was, I also own DiviPageLayouts.com. So if I was to use Divi Page Layouts, for example, you would expect to see page layouts and not much else. So what I thought was, if you're making soup, you can pretty much throw anything in and it's going to taste good. So I thought, okay, I'll do that, and then I can have a kitchen where I can create different things to do with Divi. And that was it, really. And then I bought it, and then I thought, oh, God, I should have called it Divi Kitchen. And I think that was where sort of the actual blog name came from, thinking I should call it Divi Kitchen. I didn't, despite my marketing background, I didn't think that this was a great idea. Terry thinks I did that. Yeah, everyone searches for recipes, so this will be a great SEO boost for me. I didn't think that at all.
Well, the short domain name helps.
Sorry?
The short domain name is
and it
the best SEO tool.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, it's great to be able to get a short domain. But, it was just a bit of I wasn't entirely sure what I was going to put on the site. So I thought I didn't want it to be too specific. So I just thought, right, if I can throw everything in, that I want to throw in, what would that look like? And I thought it looked like soup. But that's it. Probably not as strategic as people might think.
Well, strategy can happen as you go. The logo's awesome.
Oh,
I just like the whole site. It's clean.
Yeah, it works. It's not
the idea.
It's not cheesy.
I mean, it's easy, right? It's easy to follow. I mean,
oh God, it's like you all know your own site is just the most difficult to do.
Oh, I hate my site.
Yeah, it's just awful. It's just never finished, and you're never happy. And I don't even know why I chose orange. I think it was because the only soup that I thought that wasn't a
actually, that brings up isn't that there with regards to color and emotion?
Yeah,
male and female are together on the first two, and then they go wildly different. And orange supposedly is bad for women. We part on that third color, and supposedly women aren't as fond of orange. And I actually thought about that the first time I went to your site. It shows how much the combined knowledge out there is worth in general terms.
It may also be because of the industry that I've worked in for most of my career. It's everything's orange in that industry, so I might just have it sort of ingrained in my DNA now that I have to use orange.
I mean, it works.
I think it's also in terms of like colour psychology. I think it's supposed to be quite fun and upbeat as well.
I agree.
Yeah. So
I love the color. Actually, I like way too much color, so it's.
I know Tami has quite a few more questions, but before we get back to those, just the last one on the chat room is from Olga. She wants to know where, when you design a new child theme, where do you get your inspiration from?
Sometimes I've been having ideas. I just sort of, just random ideas that I think, that just sort of pop into your head. I've just started using Pinterest, which I know I should have done ages ago, but I'm in
the same boat. Yeah, I need to.
I just wanted to get Facebook sorted. I wanted to do that first. I don't think it's good to do too many social networks at a time. And I have I've got bright shiny object syndrome, so I get distracted quite. So I just started Pinterest, and that's given me so much inspiration. I've got some boards, some public boards for things that will help other people as well as myself, and then I've got some sort of private boards for inspiration. So I get a lot from Pinterest, from Dribble as well. And then just stuff I come across, really, looking online for, whatever I'm doing. Just every now and then you'll sort of come across something that looks nice and has certain elements in it, or a particular font or a particular colour palette. And I'll save it to Evernote or Pinterest. And then when it's time for a new child theme, I usually come up with the idea of what the child theme is for first, because I have about 4 backed up that I want to do.
Yeah.
And so then, depending on what the subject of the child theme is, I'll then just go and look at, my Evernote files and Pinterest and sort of, see what's there and pull out some ideas, really.
Cool.
So in terms of the child themes, you've done, 7 of them now? Is that right?
No, I've done 6. 4 are published, 4 are available to purchase. 1 was my very, very first one, which is actually not bad, but I need to redo the whole thing. It was like it was a test, and obviously I've learned so much since then that I need to just go back in and rework the whole thing. But the design is quite nice. And then I've just finished one. I have a client that I do white label child themes for. So basically they have a client and they pay me to build a theme for them. But then the way that it works is they get a discount on the price of the build, but I then release that as a child theme. So they don't have a custom design, but the file that they get is a child theme file, and then it's up to them to go and put in all of their own content and images and that kind of thing. So I've just finished one of those, so I'll be releasing that fairly soon. So that'll be 5 live child themes.
So how I know you we'll talk about I want to talk about your course in a second, but I'm curious, how far are you planning to take it with the child themes? How many themes will you have eventually?
Oh God, unlimited. I love building child themes. It's probably my favourite thing, actually. Slightly ahead of the tutorials. I just love building them. So I'd sit here all day doing it if I could. There are no limits. If I can think of enough subjects and come up with enough unique designs.
Yeah.
So in terms of, do you want to talk a little bit about your course that you have coming up?
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
Oh, what do you want to know?
Well, just so everybody knows, Michelle has a child-themed course coming up. What's it going to be about? What's it like? What are people going to learn?
Well, they're going to learn. It's not just, I think, when I first started doing child themes, there was nothing. There was no instructions, anything. So I basically had to work it out for myself. And there's still really nothing. I think I saw one blog post recently about how to build a child theme, and it was not helpful. If someone used that, it was just like, no, don't go there. So yeah, I really had to work it out for myself. But I'm a problem solver. I can just, my main talent is just working stuff out. I can just, solve problems. And so it wasn't relatively difficult for me to work out how to do that. But I see so many people asking the question of how do you do it? And, people trying to explain how you do it. But it's not so much the packaging of the child theme. It's the whole concept, it's
the loop.
Sorry?
The loop. There's conceptual. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. It's you need to choose a market. You need to understand who's going to buy your child theme. Whether that be whether you have a speciality, whether you specialize in a certain industry. Are you going to develop a child theme for that industry? Are you developing a child theme just to sell, or are you developing it to sell and to use for your own business for low budget clients, or to speed up development, or something like that? So it's really sort of going to be about the concept of the child theme. It'll include a lot of stuff about tools that you can use to speed up development, picking colour palettes, content that you should include, the elements that should be on a page. I haven't got my file open with my structure, so I'm just kind of winging it here. But yeah, it's going to be quite a bit about strategy before actually getting into the building of the child theme. And then I'm not really going to teach how to build the theme, because the actual process of building it is just like designing any website. But then there'll be modules on stuff like naming your modules, and where to put your CSS, and when your CSS should be in a style sheet and when it should be in a module. And then after sort of the whole packaging process, marketing, working with a marketplace, and ongoing support and updates and that kind of thing.
Wow, that sounds great.
Well, I'm hoping it will be.
So is the course, will it be equally appropriate for like someone just starting out and for someone who's like maybe a year or more along?
No, I don't think it's going to be really appropriate for someone starting out, because because for a child theme you need to understand CSS. You don't have to understand it, really, really well. You don't need to be an expert, but you have to understand how CSS works and the logic of it, and using custom classes, and I don't think that, beginners to CSS will get the best from the course, because it's really a big part of it, as I'm sure Leslie knows. You have to, the child theme needs to set itself apart from Divi. You can't just sort of, or in my opinion, you can't just sort of design pages in Divi and have no sort of external styling that isn't available, within the modules, and it be a really good child thing, because anyone can kind of do that. In my opinion, it needs to have something unique about it. But I have been asked quite a lot about a CSS course. So I am planning, once this one is done and launched, to work on a CSS course.
Ooh. Chat's posted a link actually to your course, so you're off the hook on asking me for that info. So if anybody's interested, there's a link in the chat you can check out. And Mo asked, is the course self-paced, or is it more of a group?
Yeah, it will be self-paced. So so once you purchase, all of the modules will be available, so you can just take your own time.
Oh, looks like I missed a question. Go for it, Leslie.
Yeah, let me scroll up a bit. Sorry, I was listening too much. Clark wants to know, how do you manage the update process for new versions of child themes, and is there any way to automate the distribution? Good question.
At the moment, updates are just, I mean, to be honest, I haven't had to do too many updates so far. I don't know if I've just been lucky not to run into any issues, or whether it's the way that I build them, but none have had any issues with, Divi updates. So I haven't had to do much. But in terms of updating automated, I know that Elegant Marketplace are working on something at the moment where they're going to give all of the developers some code. So when we do an update, we can just push it to the marketplace, and it will be automatic, just like you update a plugin. So that would be great.
Yeah. As long as you stay away from the header.
Oh.
It seems like the header is the one that gets sucked into an update more often than anything else.
Yeah. I mean, at the moment, all I do is, if I do update, I'll just put a change log in the CSS file. So just, under where the, where the top information is, the theme, description and all of that, I'll just put some commented out code, just saying what the updates are. And if that starts to get long, then I'll remove it and put it in a text file or something that comes with the package. And I
think you mentioned EMP, and I'm pretty sure, I'm not positive, but I thought that I think Gino is also working on a way, and maybe SJ. You know how SJ is; he's always tinkering on something. But yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of good options for that. I know I'm like you. I think I've just been lucky. I really haven't needed to push out many updates, but getting my head wrapped around putting, the automation code, that's another thing, but that would be really helpful.
Yeah, it would be good. I'm hoping not to have to do updates. I'm thinking I'll probably have to do more updates with the extra one than I will with the Divi one.
That's why I'm scared of 3.0. I'm like, wait, hold on, I want to make sure.
Yeah, that is going to be scary.
I'm kind of quaky in my boots over that one too.
Well, we take a lot of stress off of Ellie.
I think he's cutting out.
Yeah, I think I keep hearing him cut out. There's another question from Olga. What is your favorite plugin or plugins that you use all the time?
Oh, I do have. I'm just going to open my site here so I can remember. I do have plugins that I install on every site. So as far as sort of needed plugins go, I install Updraft and WordFence. I install the floating publish button, TinyMCE Advanced.
Oh yeah.
I'm just logging in and I'll tell you.
That was a great one you did. Spacing issue.
Oh, do you know what that was? That was quite funny because I don't normally write just blog posts. It was kind of a tutorial.
I actually do that. I was giggling the whole time. I think I just kind of adapted to the problem and just was dealing with it because I knew it was WordPress, and that seems to be what has eased that issue for me. Is I use that plugin, and it made me chuckle. It's a great post though. I haven't seen enough of it. I bet you there's a lot of people don't know about that post.
Well, that was the kind of the reason that I did it, because I think on that day I had about I saw or I had about 4 people ask the same thing, and I just thought, I see this so many times, and people either don't search the group for answers or they're not searching for the right thing.
Right.
So I thought, if I just write something that I can just post a link to every time someone asks, it probably
unfortunately, Facebook's structured around the idea of the time, and a lot of people probably don't even know to search. They look at, the environment doesn't cater to that idea. But I thought one day about that, and I think I even said something on a post that we should start taking these solved questions that are relevant. Obviously, chat's putting them in the tutorial database, but if we started tagging them with relevant terms, just like you would tag an article for that matter, so that people could search easier, or at least pin something that talks about searching.
Several times it's been brought up, hey, let's start tagging. It's just hard, there's a lot of people and it's hard for people to remember, but it's definitely been brought up that how helpful that would be.
Yeah, no, that is a great idea.
The other problem is I'm pretty sure the Facebook search doesn't reliably work.
Yeah,
Just a suspicion on my part, but
WordPress's search function doesn't reliably work. They all need adjusting.
We have Mariana in the chat saying she can't hear anybody. There we go. Okay, chats will help her out.
Yeah, chat will help out on that stuff.
He's a robot. I swear that guy's a robot. I can't type that fast. I mean, come on. I'm not even done with the question yet.
I've never heard him speak either.
I haven't either.
It won't change your idea.
What if it's just a bot? That would be something, wouldn't it?
Real quick, FlixFrame is asking, when will the course be released, Michelle?
It will be towards the end of June. Fingers crossed.
Okay. And would it be good for designers who just want to learn about Divi? Or I think you kind of answered this. It's a little more advanced.
Yeah. I'm not sure really, because it's not going to be. I'm not going to teach you how to design, because that's not the purpose of the course. Yes, possibly it will probably help. You'll learn more about Divi, but yeah, it's not a design course. I think that's one for you, Leslie. It's more. Yeah, it's kind of more aimed towards a strategy of child themes and packaging, and in earning a passive income from them.
Cool.
Design.
Hey guys, this is David. Can you hear
me? Hey, David.
I can hear you.
I'm driving. Sorry, so I wanted my iPad stuff, so I couldn't unmic myself when you were talking about the updater script. Aspen Grove Studios, we've had an updater script for child themes last year, and I know that Corey and I have discussed, just giving it out to the developers, put into theirs, because we got it from GitHub and just adapted it to our Divi child themes. So it is available to do it. It is being done. We've been doing it for, ever since we've almost released our child theme. So it is doable.
Well, you guys play with a lot, though.
And I'm just testing at the moment. I've had developed, I think I mentioned this in our group, Leslie, a style switch script. So for developing child themes, basically what it does is, and for this you have to put all of the colour values in the CSS file. And what it will do is, so you have a colour palette of say 4 colours, and then there'll be a menu item in the back end, and it will say, colour 1, colour 2, colour 3, colour 4, and you can put in your own hex codes for your colour scheme for your brand. So you can put in 4 hex codes, click a button, and it will change the entire colour scheme of the theme.
Oh. Michelle, I'm sorry. A couple people are saying they didn't hear the plugins that you had said you really loved. Would you mind repeating those?
No, of course. So the ones that I install as default are WordFence and Updraft, Tiny MCE Advanced, and depending on the site, floating publish button. Depends how much content there is on a page. But then I also always install Google Analytics dashboard, Monarch and Bloom. I sometimes, depending on the site, uses a plugin called Empress Hide from Search, so you can sort of hide pages and posts from WordPress search functionality.
Oh, cool.
Pretty Link Lite I use a lot. SF Move login, so first thing I'll normally do is just move the back end. What else do I use? Sticky, what is it called? Sticky menu or anything on scroll?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
do you use like compression, like a Smush It or Tiny?
No, I don't. I always find I get bad results. I do all of my image compression before I upload. So
okay.
I'll export from Photoshop, so save as web from Photoshop, and then run it through Tiny PNG.
Oh, cool.
And then upload. Yeah, I don't. I've tried the brushing plugins, and I don't like them. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't like the results that I get with them. Really.
I would agree with that personally. I think that's the best method. Exporting from Photoshop at a nice small size and then running it through Tiny Ping. You can get awesome results that way.
Yeah. And then I guess Yoast is the other one. Yeah, they're probably my most used ones.
How do you feel about Yoast?
I like the interface. I did try all-in-one SEO for a little while, and it was just like, God, what are all these boxes? It's just why, you know. But I'm really bad at SEO. I don't like it. I think it's boring, and I wish Divi just did it for you. Yeah, I really don't like it, and I find it quite tedious optimizing all of my posts. But I find Yoast probably the easiest to work with of the plugins that I've tried. I haven't actually come across any of the issues yet that people tend to have. I think the only issues that I have with it is the way that it doesn't, if in the library, in the media library, you put an alt tag in your image, and then when you put it in a post, Yoast doesn't pick it up.
Yeah, that one is annoying.
That's really annoying. Yeah,
I've actually looked for a bug on that one for forever before I realized it was just going to stay that way, and I was going to have.
And that's the one thing to get you to green.
Yeah, see, the thing is, green. That's my issue with Yoast. Is clients can see it, they will invariably they will destroy SEO if you leave that where they can touch it, because green is not always. I just don't like that light system very much. It's not that simple. To take all the algorithms that go into search functions, break them down into 3 colored lights is
yeah, it's a bit deceiving. It makes you think you know what you're doing for sure.
Right.
Yeah. But then for someone like me that's just really useless at SEO and hates it, I see a green light and that's it. I'm done. I don't have to do anything else. Done.
Yeah, that's exactly the one. The easiest thing with SEO I found with clients, tell them flat out, robots that come and index your site are shy, and if you acknowledge them or try to talk to them, they will run away and never come back. Write good content for the people that you intend to read it. That's it. That is your best tool for SEO. If you produce content that people want to read, the search engines will take care of the rest. You should be more worried about your clients than those search engines. That's number one. I think makes it too relevant. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I completely agree with that. I have, when I look at Divi Soup, when I look at you go to your dashboard and you've got Yoast and it tells you, how many pages are optimized and how many aren't. And I look at my original page. I think even the main structural pages of my site have no SEO on them. I'm sure if you look at them in Google, they'll just have like gobbledygook under the main title. So I only sort of started really optimizing my posts after the first couple, but my traffic just went insane because the content that's important, that's what people come for, that's what they stay for. The fact that I have no SEO on those pages is completely irrelevant because in 4 months, I was getting 25,000 page views a month. So yeah, it's not, I don't think SEO is what it used to be. I'm probably going to get roasted by
No, it's true though. The idea that you could somehow and fool a function that is basically governed and controlled by some of the most brilliant engineers on the planet. I mean, that's what they go and look for to build these things. To think that you can somehow manipulate that with your code is just a waste of effort, energy, and intelligence. Write good content, people will come and read it. It's simple. And it's been that way ever since. I mean, I was around when link keyword stuffing and people were doing all of that, but I was busy trying to learn to code, so I didn't learn it. And turns out front page isn't that hard to get to. Just have to talk to you.
We have a quick question from Olga. What hosting are you using, and did you have to upgrade when you started getting lots of traffic?
No, I've had the same hosting for God, I don't even know how long. Maybe about 9 years. I honestly can't remember how long. No, I didn't upgrade. I've had a reseller account pretty much the whole time. I host with TSO in the UK. Basically, at the time, most of my clients were like UK clients. But I don't really host for my international clients because generally they've already got hosting. And I don't really like hosting for people anyway. It's just a bit of a pain in the butt. I'm not very technical, and sometimes I have to go running to Colin and ask him for help. But yeah, I use TSO. I've got a reseller account, which I don't actually use the reseller functionality for anyone. I just have, a bunch of sites on that hosting. It costs me £30 a month, and I've never hit any, limit on sites, databases, traffic, bandwidth, anything. So yeah, I love my hosting.
Cool.
Yeah, I've been with mine for 14 years.
Yeah,
I get it.
Their support is awesome.
So, in terms of tools, you had talked a little bit earlier about tools that you use to speed up your development. Is there anything you want to share with everybody that might be useful in terms of the tools that you like outside of your plugins?
Yeah, what I do is I have kind of like, I guess you call it a blank child theme, but some of us use a script called TGM for automating the child theme installation process.
I've heard of that, yeah.
Yeah. So what I do is I have like a basic child theme with all of my favorite plugins with TGM hooked into it. So it's kind of like installing a premium child theme. So I just upload the child theme and then click one button and it installs and activates all of the plugins. So then I've just got, a blank site with a child theme and all of the plugins that I would normally install ready and waiting. And that takes like, 5 minutes, whereas downloading, installing, activating all of the plugins, could take like half an hour normally. So that's a little one. What else? In terms of tools, I mean, I think really I was talking about things like color palettes. So, colors, colors.com with 2 O. Is it?
Oh, I like that one. Yeah, that
color thing. Yeah. So you can get some inspiration. I don't know if they do it on there. They may do now, but there's another site where you can upload an image and it will give you a color palette from the image.
Okay.
I like that sometimes. If the client hasn't given me that much to work with. What else do I use? I use brackets now for my CSS. I used to use Notepad++ for years and years, but I found brackets and it really speeds things up because it puts it's called brackets. It puts brackets in for you automatically. It's got like an auto populate function, so you'll start typing a property and it will give you the options, and then it will give you the list of values that that go with that property. So actually, it's I'm going to put it in my course actually, because I think it's a great tool for people not that experienced with CSS, because it actually gives you a list of values that you can use with any particular CSS property. So
I've never used that. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah, it's really good.
Is it similar to the inspect elements? When you inspect elements, how it'll auto-populate the data?
Yeah, it isn't. Yeah, exactly. What DevTools does, it does that. Yeah, so that's very cool. So I like that. Obviously, I spend about 90% of my day in Chrome DevTools. Yeah, working stuff out really.
So, are we caught up on questions right now? Are we doing good?
I think we're good as far as what people are typing in.
Oh, I saw Olga had asked one. We'll go back and catch real quick. She wanted to know if your hosting was on a shared plan.
It is. Yeah, it's a cloud shared. Yeah, cloud shared. Yeah, I'm not great at hosting, but I don't have any issues with it. So until I start having issues with it, then I'll maybe look at something else. But I've had no problems with it, and for the clients that I do host for, they're not big traffic sites. They're, very niche industries. So, it's never been an issue. If it was a big traffic site, like I have a client that I just finished a large extra blog for, and he switched to SiteGround for that blog. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't recommend the hosting that I use for large, high traffic sites. But it seems to be doing fine with my site. I have a reasonable amount of traffic and I haven't had any complaints. If anyone thinks it's slow, let me know. I haven't had any complaints. So, I think I'll stick where I am for now.
And then Mo wanted to know, are you a Mac or a PC person?
I'm a PC person, but I do.
Oh, just kidding.
No, she was a programmer.
Yeah.
I have three. I have a little what do you call it, like a mission control thing going on. I have 3 screens. So yeah, I do want an iMac badly.
Yeah.
I want a 27-inch iMac.
One with a 4K screen.
Yes. No, there's one with a 5K screen.
5K, that's right.
Yeah,
that.
Yeah,
I've actually got a 27-inch cinema. Right? I can't argue with the Apple products like that, but the software just can't. Sorry.
Hey, I'm just going to throw this out there. I have a beautiful iMac 27-inch. Just saying.
That's what I'm working on now. I can't work on the Apple software. It leaves me.
Well, this is the thing. I have so much software that I use on PC, and I'm just thinking I don't mind so much, the cost of the Mac. It's like software that you can't really buy to work on Mac.
Yep.
And I mean, I'm kind of justifying to myself that I need one for testing, because on a recent site there was this issue and it was only on large screen Mac. And so I just had to try and, I was trying to work on it to fix it, and I'm trying to get people to try it for me. And I'm kind of saying to myself, well, if I had one, I wouldn't have that issue. But then can I justify, £1,500 just to open a website every now and then?
I think I can, but that's just me.
Yeah. And hey, I want to clarify, it's not because I like Mac. Digital nomad traveling, and I recently purchased a 15-inch MacBook Pro that I do everything on, an external monitor. So it's just kind of big to carry around with me is all. But I love it.
Do you know what? I think that's it as well. I just like the screen. If they just made monitors and I could plug that into my Windows laptop, that'd be perfect.
I think they do now.
Yeah, they do.
That's what I was saying. I've got a 27-inch cinema display on my PC.
Yeah. See, so they're targeting you too, Michelle.
That's what
you'll want to go ahead and get a crap. Everything you see on it is exactly the opposite of what everybody else. See, the quality is insane. I mean, definitely the product is worth the money, but I just can't work with their software. And again, well, at least with the Adobe, if you're using the cloud thing, the Creative Cloud like I am now, you don't have to relicense that. But
yeah, I don't. I have the software. I've got DS6.
Yeah. They had me up till 6 when they came out with the Creative Cloud. It's $30 a month, and that's cheaper than upgrading the Master Suite.
Yeah, I think when this died, the thing is, I only really use Photoshop and Acrobat. I can't stand Illustrator. I'm not a graphic designer. I can't bear it. It makes my brain hurt.
I can relate. I did 10 years it took me to open it, but I haven't opened Photoshop.
I love Illustrator. That's my favorite.
I'm stuck in Illustrator now. I mean, for 2 years, I've barely opened Photoshop, but it took a while to get my head wrapped around how it works.
Yeah, I probably need to do that, but
the tools do not make sense.
No,
they really don't. Best thing you can do is go out and buy vectors or get some vector graphics. Gives them and pull them apart.
Yeah, I've got far too much I want to learn than waste time on Illustrator.
Hey, I have a question, Michelle.
Agreed.
Can I ask, because this has come up, I see in the groups ask about the people getting into child themes, and I know for myself this was kind of a tough thing to decide on. How do you decide on pricing?
Pricing is tough. Actually, that was something that I'm going to cover. But the way that I look at pricing is kind of twofold. One, that there probably should be some relevance or relationship to the cost of an Elegant Themes membership itself. But then at the same time, you have to factor in the amount of time that it's taking you to develop that theme, how many that you think that you can sell, which, you know, you'll sell more for a certain industry than you will for another. Like my coaching themes sell a lot, but my real estate theme doesn't sell that much because, you know, if you specialize in real estate, you can't use it on every site that you do. And if you don't specialize in real estate, then you might get one real estate site every however many years. So, you know, that's a bit more niche, I think. Whereas with coaching templates, child themes, there are a lot of people starting their own online coaching businesses, and they're bootstrapping and they're building their sites themselves. So I think there's a larger market for that type of theme. So yeah, you know, the amount of time that it takes you to build it, but then also who's going to buy your thing? Is it going to be the end user? Is it going to be a developer? In my experience, actually the end user will pay more than the developer will.
Really?
Yeah, I get quite surprised in the groups sometimes by the comments by developers and designers, and I know that, you know, there are major differences in the value of currency in different countries, and you know, what's reasonable for us might be really, really expensive, you know, in certain places. But I find that a lot of designers or developers, whether they don't realise they can pass the cost on to the client or they don't factor that in when they're doing their quotes, I don't know. But, you know, if you think of the cost of the plugins that, you know, are on the marketplaces, they're like $10 to sort of $20. And if you can't pass that on to a client, you've got the wrong client.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you need to find someone else to work with. So yeah, there are a number of factors, but I kind of, with mine, apart from the extra theme, I wanted them to be under $100. And it's quite difficult for me as well because obviously we work in pounds. So,
yeah.
you know, I'm sort of pricing it for two markets as well. But yeah, I wanted it to be under $100, but I wanted it to be reasonable. And I know some people, I think Gino has this view as well, that your pricing will also depend on the kind of buyers that you get. So if you charge a higher price, you're possibly likely to get buyers with maybe more experience, and
which would lead maybe to less support questions and things.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, there's that theory as well. But really, with anything, there's no hard and fast rule with pricing. You just got to sort of suck it and see, really. But I put my first one out in '97, and that seemed to work really well. So I just kind of stuck with that.
I read an article back struggling with money, and I need to try to find it if I can. The guy was, I want to say, had something to do with internet security in general, but his entire approach, his entire solution, raise your prices, and I did, and it worked. I mean, there's just no amount that you can put into the idea that you are worth what you perceive yourself to be worth. If you're going to do this for a living, you have to be competent. That's a given. Yeah. But if you think you're good at it, if you have a niche or something that you fill and you know it, raise your prices to reflect that, or your clients are not going to see you that way. And if they don't, they're going to wear you out. Scope creep just about drove me out of this business before I learned to say no.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? Absolutely, yeah. You should be raising your prices every year. I mean, I've raised my prices since January. I've raised them twice. And yeah, it does filter out. It does, it filters out not necessarily the bad clients, but the ones clients that okay, they're on a low budget. That's fine. You can say, all right, if this is your budget, I can do X, Y, and Z. But that's sort of all you get. But it's those type of clients that I find are like, could you just do this, and can we just change this one more time, and the higher your prices, the better quality your clients, basically.
Yep.
So guys, we're at 2:06 right now. I know we usually go over until people are out of questions, but I want to kind of start roping it in toward the corral at least. I had one last question that I was very curious about, which is, where do you see this whole Divi thing going, or where do you want to see this whole Divi thing going in terms of the community and products and everything that everybody's doing?
Where it's going, I don't know. I think Gino's the only one in the know there.
Right?
He's not talking, which is absolutely right. He shouldn't. I can't tell you where it's going. I can tell you where I'd like it to go. I would like to see no front end builder.
Oh gosh, me too.
I don't like front end builders at all.
Yep.
But I would like to see it as more of an all-in-one solution in that, okay, so I install Divi. Why do I have to install Bloom as well? Why is Bloom not just a module? Why is Monarch not just a module? Oh. Why do I need to install Yoast? I never even
thought of that.
Obviously you can't cater for every single scenario, but the plugins that most developers would use on a standard site, so security, backups, SEO,
shortcodes,
social connections, shortcode, opt-ins, make a modules, make it part of Divi, make people a reason not to go anywhere else. That's what I'd like to see.
Interesting concept. Maybe they're listening. Maybe.
Never even thought of that. Oh, they're listening. We're pretty loud.
So, if anybody else has any questions, throw them on out there. We're gonna look to wrap this up somewhat.
This brought back up again. Michelle? What is it you have against the front? I mean, I don't even. CSS Hero makes my skin crawl. I don't like anything that works on the front end. But what is it about that you don't like? Is it your background?
I think that it stops people learning. Unless you get inside the code, you're never going to understand how it works. So, if you want a front end builder, I don't know, develop a plugin, make the front end builder a plugin for, DIYers or newbies that aren't really interested in learning. They just want to knock up a site. But I just think that it just completely stumps the learning process. And unless you really get into the code and understand, what's doing what and how it works, then you're never going to improve. Your design skills may get better, but you're never going to be able to implement, functionality over and above what Divi already does, unless you really get inside. And you can't do that with a front-end builder, in my opinion. And yes, I did last year. When I first started with Divi, I bought CSS Hero and installed it and uninstalled it about 3 minutes later.
Yeah, I think I tried it for about 10 minutes. I was like,
really? Yeah, back to Notepad and DevTools.
Just reading through the questions here. Yeah. Okay, cool. We're having a little chat. I don't know if you're watching the chat. We're having a little chat about the best way to learn CSS. Yeah. Any tips for the newbies?
Yeah, I mean, basically all the browsers now have their own, DevTool versions. I've always used Chrome. I don't even have Internet Explorer on my computers, and I won't discuss it or talk about it because it makes me uncomfortable. I have just upgraded all of my machines to Windows 10, so I have Edge.
Oh, so you have Edge.
I have Edge. It's actually quite good. I'm not,
isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not offended by Edge yet, but yeah, I still work in Chrome, and I think Chrome DevTools are the best that there are out of all the browsers. That's how you find out. That's how you learn. Find something on the site, inspect the element, and have a look at the code and see what it's doing. And
change it.
Yeah, hover over it, see how the code changes, move to the next element, move up, down, right click. That's basically the way that I learned. You just got to get in there and have a look at it, really.
I do the majority of the debugging. I'll keep changing values until
it works.
Exactly. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. See, that's the thing. You can change your site without the risk of breaking anything.
And without previewing and saving, and I think a lot of people miss the value of their browser there. They don't realize that the majority of the answers they're going to get from any of us, they just don't know where.
Right there. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. It's the best tool. I think.
I'm just laughing at the text feeds as much fun as the conversation.
At the chat.
Yeah, Code Academy is great, actually. I signed up and I have a PHP course sitting there waiting for me, but I just haven't.
PHP 7's coming along too.
Oh, is it? Oh, maybe I'll wait for that then.
No, I know, right? I don't even try to keep up with some of these languages. I just when it becomes relevant for me to touch them, I do. Server side can stay right where it is.
Yeah, I agree.
It will have to come out here in the light to get them in.
Just learn when you need to learn. I think people put a lot of pressure on themselves to, learn all these different things, but just do it when you need to. If you need to develop something in particular, then just learn then. Learn on the job.
That's the traditional way of tests. Now they have all of the world's information at their fingertips, and they only use what they need. You would think there'd be more problem solving going on, but there's not. The bottom line is that is the best way for me. I would imagine that there's enormous gaps in my knowledge because of how I've learned, but I've only learned to do the things that I was getting paid to do. So
just to answer Olga's question that she's just posted is quite funny. No, Olga, they're not. One of them's 5. She just likes me to open up Word so that she can type loads of random letters. But my eldest is 15, and no, she's not. But she's doing business studies. She's taking her exams next year, and she does business studies at school. So they have to, as part of their coursework, they have to find a local business and sort of work with them on their coursework, and they, basically do an analysis on a business. and she's doing it on me. I'm probably about as local as you can get to my child.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, so she's doing it on Divi Soup, which is quite funny. So yeah, she's not interested, but she's really liking the idea of passive and affiliate income. So who knows?
Yeah, I love my AdSense.
Okay, so does anybody else have any questions? Last chance to get them in. Anybody?
That's typically not being directed towards. I'll keep us here all day. I've been restrained.
Well, if nobody else has any questions for Michelle today, do you guys go to WordCamp?
As a matter of fact.
I haven't been yet, no. But then, I'm, compared to probably some of you, I'm relatively new to to WordPress. So no.
Didn't you say you were going to stow away in somebody's bags, Michelle?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna stow in SJ's bag. But he looks like he's got a lot of clothes. So that was what I was going to say. I think the clothes put you. Yeah. I'd love to go, but Mum, my kids come first, and I'm busy at the moment.
Yeah, you can't leave the soup on that long; it'll burn.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining, but I'm very, very busy. I would love to do that, but I'm not sure my kids will forgive me for flying to America and not taking them. So yeah, and yeah, Tami's speaking at WordCamp, which is fantastic.
Okay, guys.
What are you speaking about, Tami?
They haven't approved it yet, so I don't know. It's a little woo-woo. I'm speaking about the general idea that as you get better in terms of self-development, as you grow as a person, your business also grows with you. And so like kind of as you conquer your fears and anxieties and various issues, that it will make your business stronger and stronger.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Excellent. Yeah, I love that kind of stuff.
It's very woo-woo, but the guy who approves the speeches is like a clinical psychologist. I have high hopes that he's going to be really into this idea.
And do they record the sessions? Can you access them online after if you haven't got a ticket?
They record some of them. I've been looking for various ones that I've seen mentioned, and like some of them are online on WordPress TV and some of them are not. And I don't really know what the criteria is for what makes it and what doesn't make it. So some of them are. I don't know if mine will be, but some of them are.
Get out of my head, Leslie.
I can't type, so I'll just say thanks for taking the time, Michelle. It was great listening.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I wish we could all turn our microphones on now and go, woo! That would probably be chaos.
And I just wanted to say, I saw, I can't read and talk at the same time, or talk and type, but there were some people that was saying some lovely things about my site, about Divi Soup, and that they spend a lot of time on there. So I just wanted to say thank you, that I really appreciate it. And if you have any recipe requests, I can't promise that I can do them, but send them in and I will do my best.
Yay, requests!
I have been planning to put a form on there, actually, a recipe request form, but it's just...
You're going to get bombarded.
Okay, so I think with that, we will wrap it up for today. Are we ready to go? Are we all ready to go back to our Fridays? Thank you so much, Michelle. We are so happy to have had you here. I know everybody loved it. Thank you, everybody else, for showing up and spending this time with us this afternoon. And we will see all of you guys next week.